Hello again everybody, this is Amergan and you're very welcome back to another Star Trek Fleet Command. So another bit of base raiding going on, guys. We're here in P'Jem level 29 system, and you'd be forgiven for thinking everything's hunky-dory with ROG here now at the minute, because we're all sharing the one space and raiding the one base. Now we're all in P'Jem. I'll come and I'll talk about that a little while later in the video. We're going to just watch a bit of gameplay. This is going to be a bit of a long one here today, guys. We're just going to showcase how all of these alliances, the HSS, that would be HOM, SOS and SWRD, Sword, how they're all coming together, raiding this base, and ROG are in on the action, and everything seems to be working out okay at the minute. People are sharing is caring, and everybody's all loved up here at the minute, raiding this base, taking out all of its juicy resources. Now there is a bit of a fly in the ointment, because we've got a couple of pests here. We've got the Sith, and again we'll talk about them later on, but the Sith are here and they're occupying a couple of spaces in and around that base, but most of the rest of these bases are taken up with HSS guys, one or two other randomers in the mix. We look around here and we'll see that there's a fair amount of HOM, fair amount of ROG, and a few SOS and a Sword as well. So the guys are getting stuck in. Anybody that's in these nearby systems, taking about 30 seconds or so to get to that base, maybe a little longer for some. So it's far from ideal. This is not a great system to do this kind of raiding in, because there's not that many housing units around these planets. I estimate something in the region of maybe 25 spaces in this system total, and unfortunately there's no room for me to move in. I was a bit too late coming to this show. The guys have all the spaces filled up and are raiding away here for this last while. So we'll take a look now very shortly at what's in this base. Fair amount of resources there, guys. A lot of power steel. So there's a long raid gonna happen here. It's been going on a wee while, and it's going to go on for a fair while longer. We can see the Phil's out there. Phil's sitting with his Intrepid out there. That would be to intercept that Sith player, level 33 Skywalker, should he decide to try and steal some of the resources out of this base while everybody else is raiding it. Not an awful lot we can do about that, except intercept those guys' ships when they decide to attack. Now Skywalker hasn't got his shield up, so that would indicate that he's out and about, and that he could hit this base at any given time. Or4D4 has his shield up, and he's less likely to be hitting this base right now. So that's why Phil's got his ship just parked there. He's out with his miner there as well. He's doing the business, so he's multitasking at the moment. These Sith guys, they're quite strong, sitting on no small amount of resources. Nearly 2 billion, 1.7 billion tritanium there as Skywalker. Not so much tritanium there, but still a fair amount of resources, and that's why these guys can afford to be pests on the server at the moment, because they're sitting on a mountain of resources there for the repairs and what have you. So it's all about preventing these guys at the minute. A couple of guys are jumping in and out of the system. Like I said, there's not much room. I'm not in here at the moment. Somebody may make way for me later on. I may not get to commentate on much of this going forward, because busy, but I'll keep recording anyway, and might be able to speed up a wee bit of it and get through this gameplay a little bit quicker. We see Psychosis there in doing the business, and my old friend Hiltz is knocking about, and we're not fighting with each other for a change. We're all on the one side raiding this base. There's been some criticisms knocking about this style of play and hitting players like this, but the reality is it's a war game, guys. It's not a mining game. see there some of the guys. We'll take a look at some of these ships if we can. We can just flick around some of the strengths and what these guys are rocking. That's a nice miner that the Hilts has got. It's nearly 400k. Phil's miner is quite nice there as well. So these ships are all sitting on over 300k. These big ships are all on over 300k. My HSS Horizon is about 150, so it's half the strength of some of these ships. And that Intrepid of Phil's there sitting at over 1.1 million, so not to be messed with, you know. Nobody's going to come up against Phil's ship there and think that it's going to be an easy task to get him out of the way. He's going to keep raiding this base, and that Intrepid's going to be there on guard duty. We get a wee glance at some of these guys as they're in action. Like I say, there's been some criticisms about this style of play, guys. It's not a mining game. People have been given out because different players have been raided in their alliances and different things. And the reality is, this is the way the game is meant to be. You're meant to be raiding, and you're meant to be out there forming war parties and taking what you can, teaming up and trying to maximize your gains. If you want to mine, it's the wrong game. Criticisms of people who want a mining game is not Farmville in space. Some people used to criticize it when it was heavy on the mine, and it's no longer like that. So quit the crying, wise up, stop taking things personally. Let's get stuck into a bit of battle and a bit of raid. And see Billy's there with a Centurion on that base. I wonder if I'll get a chance to get a wee glance at it. I noticed that Skywalker's after landing home with a ship, so we might see a wee bit of activity here now in a wee second as well. I think Billy warped out with that Centurion. Guys like Kiwi there, you don't see him too often getting stuck into this, but seeing as his alliance is involved and taking part, why wouldn't they? Some of these players, anybody who's been following the videos will recognize some of the main heads. They're regulars in at this kind of stuff. This is a slightly higher level base. It remains to be seen even if my 150k Horizon will do the business on it, but if we manage to open up a space later, we'll jump in and we'll see how it does. So some familiar names about there. Becoming a well enough polished machine in terms of raiding these bases. And a good mix of alliances from the server, and a good showing from the HSS. There's Skywalker out. Skywalker's chancing his arm at hitting this base, and Phil's all over him. Phil's got him. That's a quick hit by Phil. That's why Phil's one of the top players in this game. He's no slouch, he's quick off the mark, and he has these guys' cards marked. So Lexus Sith there, or any other alliance that wants to be a pest and go out there, they've got their hands full with some of these players. Big mistake if they think that they can jostle for position with some of these guys, because they want to do better than what they're doing at the minute to have any real impact. If an alliance like ROG, who are they've got multiple alliances, they've refined that down to now 2 alliances. I think if an alliance like ROG can have a difficulty contending with these guys when they combine their efforts, then two pests like Skywalker and R4D4 haven't really a hope. But sure, we let them dream on, and I'm just gonna keep recording here, guys. I'm gonna speed up some of this footage, and I'll let you guys sit back with your popcorn and take it all in for the next wee while, and I will be back shortly. So guys, this has been going on for quite a while, and it'll go on for another while yet. There's still a fair bit of resources to come out of this base. You've seen a couple of attacks that I've been doing there. Quite a long repair time on the ship. Ship is barely able to do this, but we're going to keep at it, take what we can out of it. It's going to take a wee while because there's a 30-second gap from where I'm located down here to this base that's being raided. So an interesting one about all of this, guys, is that ROG are taking part, and there's an uneasy piece with ROG at the moment. And just to explain a little bit what's going on, Alpha, who you've seen in this location a little while ago, made space for me to come in and get a little bit out of this base. Some of the guys have gone quiet. People have got lives that they need to attend to. They can't be at this for hours on end necessarily. So this is really what's going on in terms of this long kind of raiding party that happens on a base that has this much resources. What you get here is almost like a relay. The more organized the group of people, the better the relay will, more effective it will be, and the better outcome there'll be for everybody involved. So some of the guys are getting stuck in regularly and draining this base, but we can see here there's 2 Sith guys. Now, simply for the Star Wars kind of theme that these guys have got going on, they need to die for that alone. You're coming in here as a Sith, Skywalker, and R4D4, and this whole Star Wars theme going on in terms of their alliance and that. So it's a 2-man alliance from what I can tell. And take a quick look in here. So there's Sith Lords, and there's only 2 of them, and these guys are out to raid everybody. So there's not going to be any real peace until these guys wind their necks in. They're trying to get in on this act, but some of our guys have been hitting them, and ROG have shown up to raid this base as well, and they're essentially blocking Sith with us from taking resources out of this base. These 2 guys have raided a number of players in a number of the alliances, and not very well liked at the moment. So some of the guys are getting stuck in. Another thing that's happening here is you've got the likes of Harry here, Harry Seldon. Harry's intercepting, and he's done this already if you're watching closely. He's intercepting the attack ships that are coming in. So he's sitting out here with his Bortus while people are raiding this base. And for somebody like me, you'll see there now, hostile with the Federation. So there's an attack ship en route to take my miner out as it heads up towards this base. And what Harry's been doing, hopefully he'll do it again here if he's online there in the minute, at the minute. Harry's taking out those attack ships with his Bortus as they arrive and intercepting any aggressive or hostile ships that come in to interfere with this raid. A few other guys have a few ships out. They've been intercepting the Sith guys and their ships. Phil got 1 or 2 of them there. So the guys are out defending this area generally. You can see Harry's taking out that combat ship there, and that allows me to mine this base and raid this base safely, as well as any other players that the Federation are aggressive to. So he's essentially patrolling that area, keeping it clear of hostiles. Now, another thing that's going on here is, you see me looking around the system earlier. There was no spaces in that system, which is why Alpha, I want to thank Alpha for making that space for me. It's why Alpha jumped out to let me in. There's literally no spots in this system in Pajem. Each one of these housing systems have like 5 spots on them, and they're all full. And I looked around them earlier. You can see this is intentional, guys, because some people have been asking me, for example, about is it better to spread out, go to one faction area, create a hive, and all stay together, and it really depends on your circumstances. So for our purposes right now, the HSS, Hom, Sauce, and Sword have all essentially taken over this system. Fill up the spaces. A couple like the Sith guys have snuck in there. You'd expect that they'll jump before long. and we will fill this system up further. And what that basically means is you can't get in close to a base that's being raided. You have to come from an outside system. It takes a lot more time, a lot more risk to your ships, and not the wisest move when you have a couple of active alliances like this working together and protecting their resources. So it looks like this game is frozen a little bit. It's not surprising with the length of time that I've been recording this. So I'll be back again very shortly with a little bit more of this raiding footage, and we'll highlight a couple of the things that is going on. So we're back, guys, and I'm going to take a quick look at what's going on up here. So guys, that base is just about empty. Not an awful lot left to go in it, mostly dilithium. Pearly won't be long making short work of that. Pearly looks like he took over Phil's position there. Harry's still flat out at it. So I'm going to wind this video down now and thank everybody for tuning in. It was a bit of a long one, I guess. But as always, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Give it a like, all of that kind of stuff. And until I catch up with you guys again, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you all again very shortly. Cheers.